in the last few weeks, when there's an issue, Zito is at the center of it. So you have other males that have established units that are trying to keep their females close to them, and we're gonna see what happens over the next few months with Zito.
A little troublemaker.
He is. We love him to pieces, though. But there's days where he's going outside. I just kind of sit there and think, Zito, we're gonna make good choices today.
We're going to think about our actions.
We're not going to start problems.
No. And are there major differences between the male and female baboons? Because on the cam, it looks like some have maybe thicker, longer hair, but some don't.
Yes, absolutely. So the males are going to have what we call capes and those tufts of hair on the side of their heads. And that hair, again, it's going to offer them some protection. And the females are going to be much smaller. They're going to be a little more brown in coloring, and they're not going to have a thick coat. So when you see one next to one another, very distinct difference. And the males, they all do look different to us. When I first started, I had to spend 2 weeks just learning everyone's name, getting their face down, even their posture. Sometimes you can tell them apart. And it's a process for sure. So we've got some males coming up in the corner.
Oh yeah.
So
how many are living at the zoo right now?
We have 22 Hamadryas baboons, 8 males, the rest of our females. And the males, they're all very smart. They're motivated to work with us when we have them inside. So we actually do some training to help us care for them better. And that looks like Walter and Carrie that we're looking at. Yep, that's Carrie, our female, on the left. Walter is sitting next to her. That's her male. And that is actually the female that Zito's been going after lately. So.
Oh no.
Poor Walter is constantly trying to keep his female.
He's doing a good job. He's being attentive, it looks like.
For the most part, the female's job is to stay close to their males. And when we have males that are establishing that one male unit, we give them time with their females to create that bond. And then we'll introduce them to the rest of the troop. And it's up to that male to defend his female, keep her close, but it is that female's job to stay close to her male. And in the wild, that would mean the difference between being defended by a predator, a competing male, and that male's job is to protect his family and his group there. So, and Carrie's an older female. She won't be having any babies or anything, but she and Walter, for the most part, do well together.
Oh, that's sweet. And where are these? Are the Hamadryas baboons from the same area that the gelatos are from, or are they from a different area?
So Hamadryas baboons actually are the most widely spread baboon as far as where they're found in Africa. They're even found in Yemen. So they go from Ethiopia, Somalia, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen. So that's all over. And Ethiopia, you would have overlapping with gelatas there. Gelatas would be higher up in climate typically. And these guys are very successful. They take care of their offspring extremely well. And with large groups like that, you also have the safety in numbers. So some of the things they deal with in the wild would be human encroachment. You have a lot of farming that gets moved in, and for the most part, people will try to live with these guys, but baboons can be aggressive, absolutely. And especially when it's trying to feed their family, they're going to try to get food, and they can definitely move into the crops pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I guess just what's the best way for people to kind of avoid situations like that, or how can they help um, protect the baboons? Like, are they endangered? Do you know, or are they just having a little bit of conflict with people kind of
Homodryas
moving into their
baboons
space?
are stable right now. They do very well. The San Diego Zoo is working with several different organizations to make sure the population within managed care is diverse, it's healthy, we have good numbers, we collaborate with several other facilities to make sure we're doing our part. Geladas are definitely on the threatened side. So that has, there unfortunately you do see their hair sometimes used as headdresses. Um, they're dealing with human encroachment. Unfortunately, uh, there's been war in Africa, so you will deal with the bush trade. You'll deal with illegal selling, but they are absolutely beautiful, beautiful creatures. So that looks like Devani sitting there. So all of our baboons do have names. Our geladas, we have 6 boys. So this looks like Devani.
He's very handsome. He looks very
He's
proud.
very handsome.
And
And the
I heard they have
chest,
a
you'll see
nickname.
that
Yeah.
that triangle there. So that's just skin, and he looks like he's got a little skin loose there. And you'll see under his chin as well some pink skin there. That's for looks, to look impressive. When they start walking, they look huge. It's a lot of hair, but that's just to give that impressive look there.
Very intimidating.
Very intimidating right now. Everyone should fear him.
Yes. And how do they spend their time during the day, and when are they most active?
So these guys, most active is probably going to be in the morning when we first let them on the habitat. We get in at 6 a.m. We start our day. We start cleaning, making sure their habitat is clean. It's got food for them, but it's also got enrichment. Here at the zoo, we want to make sure our animals have an enriched day. So that means they are using some of those natural skills and abilities that they would be using in the wild. We're trying to mimic that within managed care. So whether it's puzzle feeders, whether it's different scents, depends on the animal and their natural ability. And for these guys, they're really just chill animals. They're so relaxed. Um, Working with the geladas versus the hamadryas is night and day. So that looks like our hamadryas they're looking at someone. So
Checking something out.
it's very different. So that looks like our female Yara up there. Yara or Tank. I think that's Tank.
Oh, yep. They're looking.
Yeah, you've got, yeah.
And so I have to ask you about this because we're getting a good view of some of their backsides. Can you talk a little bit about the baboon booty and why it's so prominent?
That big red booty. My
Yeah.
children call them red butt monkeys. So those are called callosities, and predominantly going to be seen in old world monkeys. And for these guys, right now they're running around, so it doesn't serve my purpose there. But if you saw the geladas, they're kind of sitting on their rump, and they're going to be sitting there when they're eating. They're crouched down, walking on those hind legs, kicking through. They're grazing, and when they're going to be sitting, they're going to be on that rump there. So it's not soft. It's not delicate. It's called a callosity, and that's a thick pad there that they'll be sitting on. And for females, when they begin cycling, they will swell. And that's a visual cue for males. That's also a cue for us. And we will actually chart their cycles. We'll keep tabs on where they're at. And we keep tabs of any observations of breeding. We do manage our population here at the zoo to make sure not only that we have enough space for the number of animals. We have 22 right now. So we do have one female that we are allowing to cycle right now in breeding. We do use birth control for our other females that we want to kind of hold a break. And some of that is genetics. Maybe they have flooded the gene pool. They've had multiple babies. They're well represented. There could be anything from unknown genetics that we're unsure of where they came from. But for the most part, it's just going to be that managing population. We have 4 young females right now. I believe Gidget is our youngest. So Gidget is she's 3 years old, and she's just started cycling this year. We don't want her to have babies right off the bat. We want to give her that time there. And so she's on birth control until she's at a decent size, until our SSP, which is the Species Survival Plan, has said, hey, we would like her to breed, and we'll go from there.
And if, in the wild, when they do have babies and they do breed, can you speak to how they care for their young, how long the babies stay with mom, and how that kind of plays out?
Absolutely. So they're excellent mothers. They're very devoted to their offspring. And gestation's about 5.5 months. And typically you're going to have a single birth, one baby, and that baby's going to be stuck to mom. That is one nice thing about primates. We have thumbs. So those babies are going to be holding on to mom, either on the chest. Sometimes you'll see those babies on their back. And the males will sometimes hold their babies. We've had males here at the zoo who were actually very involved with their offspring. Sometimes you might see them be a little more aloof. They're on the protecting side, not the babysitting side. And since they are social, you will see if a male has more than one female, maybe those babies are going to be playing with other females. Maybe they're going to be socializing with those other females in the group. And the babies, I want to say typically those babies are stuck with mom anywhere from 2 to 3 years. Our little ones still like to go hang out with mom, even though all of our youngers are technically claimed by a male. You will see them go hang out with their mom quite a bit.
That's sweet. They're not ready to say goodbye.
But it is one of those things when their male is ushering them away from mom, those littles still go with their male. So we've been lucky enough here to have very successful breeding program, really good moms, and it's been fascinating to watch.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just looking at how they're all kind of hanging out now, it makes me feel like that male sitting there might want to start grooming his lady friend. Is grooming an important part of their social dynamics?
Grooming is very important for primates. And I often get asked by kids and some of our other guests, are they cleaning bugs off one another? And I always tell people, if we had that many bugs on our animals, we would have the vet down here treating them. Grooming doesn't mean bugs. That means I'm touching you in some way. It's that physical touch. It could be straightening hair. And it's a way of bonding. It's a way of reaffirming a bond. And after there are fights, sometimes you'll see the males run back to their females, and their females will begin frantically grooming them. Like, yes, you did a good job. You're a good male. You're a big, strong male. So it's giving them that confidence there.
Little ego boost.
Everyone needs it every now and then.
Yeah, it feels good. And for everyone who just tuned in, we are live from the San Diego Zoo, and we have our very special guest here, Anastasia. She is a primate care specialist and knows all the things about these baboons that we're checking out. So thank you all again for tuning in. We're hoping to reach 45 subscribers today. So if you can help us out with that, we would really appreciate it, and appreciate your support of our Twitch channel and tuning in and joining us. So it looks like we just switched over, and there's there's something happening out there. Are they checking something out, Anastasia, or what's going on?
So I can actually hear them from inside the building, and I can see them. So Someone's starting some nonsense. So it looks like that's a female-driven argument. And the females, sometimes when you get too many girls together, they get into little catty arguments. The male right there just wants to stay out of it.
No drama.
Not getting in the middle of that. So the males typically are in charge of managing their females. If their females are fighting or having arguments, they will settle that dispute. But if you've got females from other groups, yeah, all the males right now, I can see two other males just sitting there like, nope, I'm not getting involved. It's a
Not
lot.
today.
It's a lot of teeth to get in there with.
Yeah, and speaking of their teeth, I know you mentioned earlier that they kind of will eat almost anything.
Almost
What's the
anything.
range of
So
their diet?
baboons are omnivorous. So in the wild, they'll go after bugs, maybe rodents if they find them, small birds, eggs. And here at the zoo, it's vegetarian. So they get fresh produce every single day. It's a mixture of veggies, some root, and then we have biscuits that are going to fulfill that whole nutritional package that they need. They also get a lot of lettuce. Lettuce it's good for them, but it's also a filler, which is good for the greens. And we don't give a lot of fruit here at the zoo. People, I think we always think monkeys, banana right away.
Yeah.
We these guys would have fruit in the wild that's not going to have a lot of sugar in it. So here in the U.S., our fruit has a lot of sugar in it. We're going to limit that. Primates can be prone to diseases similar to humans. They can get diabetes, so we're very diligent about what we feed our animals here at the zoo. They are on a very strict diet plan that our nutritionist has designed for each individual animal. So we don't really deviate from that. We want to make sure that they're healthy, they have a full diet. Having said that, we do see sometimes they collect some of their own goodies. So that's an open air habitat. So if something gets in there, unfortunately, it's 22 baboons against us. So they win.
Yeah, they win. And I think, everything you just shared speaks to the incredible care that you provide these animals every day. And can you just share a little bit about what like your day to day looks like for people who might be interested in being a care specialist one day?
So being a care specialist is my favorite job. Absolutely. I've loved it, and I've worked so many different animals for the San Diego Zoo as well as at the safari park. And our day starts at 6 a.m. We get in, we get eyes on all of our animals, make sure everyone's okay. We want to make sure everyone's moving, they're bright, they're alert. We're checking for any possible wounding. And then we start getting breakfast ready. So for the baboons, we're going to bring everyone inside. And for our gelatas that we're looking at right now, I mentioned earlier we have a group of 6, but we have 4 that like to hang out with one another, and then a group of 2 that prefer to be together. And we have to secure them inside with their breakfast. They're getting some biscuits in the morning, and then we go in that habitat. We start cleaning. I always like to kind of let people know 90% of my job is cleaning and prepping food. So it's not necessarily the the vision people have of we play with animals all day. Absolutely not. My job is to make sure I'm giving these guys care that they're thriving in. And I said earlier, I'm not a part of their social dynamic. So while I might work with them and do some training with them, their relationships are their own. And it's my job to make sure that these wild animals stay with their wild natural behaviors. They have their uh, own lifestyle that they need to maintain. I'm strictly on the outside of that. So, and I think that's something especially a lot of kids I've worked with over the past have always asked, well, don't the animals like you? And that's not part of my day. You know, we don't say animals like, that's what we call anthropomorphizing. The animals have their own day, their own social structures, and it's kind of a one-sided love affair working with wildlife. I love all of the animals I work with. Um, I've had an amazing career, but they're also not my pets. They're not my animals. These guys may go on to other zoos. These guys may switch who's caring for them, and that's part of the gig, so to speak. So
Yeah.
we're there for a brief time in their life.
Yeah, and I think, you brought up an important point because with primates especially, maybe not baboons as much, but smaller monkeys. I know the illegal pet trade, that's kind of a big issue. And so it's so
Yeah.
important for people to know that, the wildlife we have here at the zoo, they're ambassadors for their species, but they're not something that you want to take home and have running around your living room.
No, and it's definitely we see. I meet so many different people working at the zoo as long as I have, and I worked in education. I did tours. I met so many different people from so many different backgrounds who had a completely different upbringing. And I have met people who have said they had monkeys in their life before. And as I explained to them, you know, look at their counterparts in a zoo or in managed care and look at them having their own social life with their own species, how important that is for that animal. And it's, these guys absolutely are beautiful. I have never wanted to bring any of the animals I worked with home. Never
Yeah.
wanted to, ever. They are strong. They can be very destructive. I'm watching one of our males like pluck all of the grass out. We try to grow grass habitats and make it nice for them and pretty. They destroy everything, and that's part of being a baboon. So I always joke with people, we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
The drives will get in there, and that's part of them being a monkey. They're going to do that, and I'm not gonna rain on their parade. They're having fun. They're doing their own thing. That's how it should go. Um, Bringing wildlife in as a pet isn't just bad for the animals. It is dangerous. These guys are very strong. They've got big teeth. Even smaller monkeys, they've got big teeth, and you may not always know what they're thinking. I never presume to think I can know what these animals are thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, and do they give you signs? Like we talked a little bit about some of the ways they communicate, but is there an obvious sign that you may know they're angry or upset, or it's just really hard to tell?
Well, when we're working with these guys, staring is very much a challenge with primates. And for Homondrias, when you raise your eyebrows, they raise their eyebrows, that's threatening. They're challenging you, they want you to back off. And as a care specialist, when we're trying to look at our animals, say we see something specific, suspicious, we're staring. The animal doesn't like it because they think we're challenging them. So we're constantly reassuring, you're fine, fine, relax. They also do these bluff charges where they'll just kind of jerk their body forward. But having said that, I've watched them at the glass, and I've had one come running up to the glass and push off the glass, just saying back off. So
Okay.
not even vocalizing, their whole body language, you can see when they're trying to puff up and show off, they're trying to get you to back off. So,
Yeah, that sounds very
yeah.
intimidating. I would not mess with them. I respect their space, but they're also so incredible to watch and beautiful. And what time of day would you recommend for people to come out and see them when they might be most active?
Mornings are pretty good for them, and like right now it's almost 11:40, so you'll kind of see them start moving around. We do 2 pull-offs a day where we put food out for them. and we try to do their enrichment. And so first thing in the morning and then our midday, we'll try to pull them off exhibit and get fresh food out there for them. So early morning and midday is pretty good for them.
Okay. That's for everybody watching. If you want to come hang out with these guys, early morning, midday is a perfect time to come visit.
And they have two guards, so they kind of go back and forth between the two depending on, and right now it looks like the littles are just running the show. They're making everyone move with them because they're running around. That's their male iron trying to run up past them and kind of get a hold
They're
of them.
so cute. And are they fast? They look fast on camera, but do you know how quickly they can run?
You know what? I don't think it's ever been clocked, but it's the fact that it's not just running, that I've had them run along the walls, and it's not just a straight line towards anything. They can go on all sides. So their habitats are designed to definitely make sure they're inside. And it's one of those things, as a care specialist, we're checking barriers, make sure that everyone's safe. And they like to sometimes climb our trees. So we have that one olive tree in there, and we're trying to keep that thing alive. The Hamadryas like to pick at it and destroy stuff.
I have other feelings about that.
They do. There's also a beehive in there, so they're interested in that as well.
They'll learn that maybe they won't want to be interested in that the hard way.
Yeah, maybe a few times.
And just for everyone watching, and let me know if I'm incorrect in what I'm saying, but monkeys and primates, do monkeys fall under primates? What's the difference maybe between, is it great apes and monkeys?
So primates is the big general umbrella, and underneath that you would have apes, which are going to be here at the zoo. We have gorillas, we have bonobos, we have orangutans. Those are our great apes. You will also have lesser apes, which would go into your gibbons. We have siamangs here at the zoo as well. Again, smaller ape, and there's no tail. There's no tail there. The intelligence is going to be farther along. And then we have monkeys. Generally, all monkeys have a tail.
Okay.
And for monkeys, you have very different ones as well. You have monkeys that primarily are just eating leaves. They're up in trees, they're more arboreal. And then you have primates like the Hamadryas and the other baboons. They're a mixture in the trees, they're more terrestrial, and their diet is completely different. So you're going to see a different intelligence based off of different need and different lifestyle.
Okay. And can they swim? I wouldn't think they'd be very talented swimmers,
You're
but
not going to see these guys around too much large bodies of water, so that's not going to be necessarily probably a natural thing for them. However, we do have pools in there that are shallow, and one of the enriching activities we do is we'll maybe throw peas in there, and they've got to go in the water and pick all of that out. And it's usually
bobbing
the girls.
for peas.
Oh yeah, these guys love peas. Peas are a treat for them. And we try to keep certain things novel for them, so when they get it, it's a special treat.
Nice. I love that. And can you share what maybe one of your favorite parts about working with these animals are?
I have a soft spot for the mischievous animals. I will absolutely tell you that. So all the animals I've worked with, there's always going to be one that sticks out with you. And for the Hamadryas, they're just funny. They have such a wide range of personalities amongst the group that we have. We have a few that are just in your face, very vocal. Our youngsters, we have one specifically, Zala, likes to come up and scream at you in the morning. And it's like, good morning, Zala. And then we have some of our males that are just real calm, cool, and collected. Not a whole lot frazzles them. But it's amazing to watch them because these guys are cool until they're not, until something happens, and then you see a whole other side of that animal just pop out. And it's been fascinating watching them. Their personalities are so different. Not only do they look different to us as their care staff, but their personalities are all over the board. It's really, it's amazing to watch them and to watch them go through these changes. When I started working with these guys, Zito, our young male, was still very juvenile, and to see him get to the point where he's now trying to get his own female. He's just at that point in his life because he is 7, almost 8 years old. So for him, he's ready to have his own unit, and to see him start making those steps has been very interesting to watch.
Yeah, that's so cool that you kind of grow up with them in ways. And what's their typical life expectancy?
In the wild, you're going to see these guys probably early 20s. Within managed care, like here at the zoo, mid to late 20s, because they're getting prime care. So we not only have 7 vets here at the zoo, but we're here every single day. We are looking at everything from, the way they move to we have them get dental procedures as well.
Oh, wow.
We actually have one of our boys, Arnold, he's had a root canal. So they get all of that taken care of. Absolutely. Well, we haven't taught them how to brush their teeth yet, so it's on the list of things for us. But
and have you seen them use tools? Like, I know I've heard of some apes using tools like chimps, but have the baboons ever shown that or not really?
That is the difference between apes and monkeys. Apes are much more likely to use tools. New World monkeys, so monkeys from South America, will also sometimes use tools. Capuchin monkeys will do that. Old World monkeys, you're not going to really see them using tools. Different skill need there for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where did they all go? Oh, somebody said root canal, gross. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Absolutely. Their teeth are very important. And that's, again, one of the reasons their fruit intake is very limited. You don't want a ton of sugar in their diet. Yeah, they can get some of the same things we get.
Yeah, it's part of life.
We train our males to actually open their mouth for us. We don't do anything as far as brushing teeth, but we can have them open their mouth so we can see what's going on. Sometimes you can smell there's a rotting tooth, but also it's a way to just get a visual and see, if these guys are cutting down on what they're eating. Maybe you have an animal that's losing weight. One of the things we're first going to look at is their teeth. Open your mouth. Let me see. Luckily, all of ours are really healthy, and they do go up for annual checks. So that's when you might see some of the dental issues.
Okay. And how can you walk us through how you work with them and train them to kind of do these sort of things? Like, what does that look like for you?
Absolutely. Since these guys are very social and they're in a large group, our males kind of situate themselves where if we're going to do some training, we want them to feel secure where they're at. And we do station training as well. So all of our males have their own station. It could be a red circle, a green triangle, and we'll hang that up. They know this is where I go. They're going to get rewarded from us. So they might get peanuts. They might get, we get a large syringe of Gatorade. Sometimes we'll give them a little squirt of Gatorade. And we start very basic. So coming to us, you're going to get a reward. We are now a positive experience for this animal. And this animal has every option to leave and end that training session whenever they want. So it's something we are we advocate quite a bit for our animals, is choice and control. They are choosing to come over to us. They don't have to. But if they do, we're going to reward them. We're going to make it positive. And then they control how long it is. If they suddenly are just done with it, they get up, walk away, that's it. We're done with that training session. But as long as we have them, we're going to try different things. So coming to us, standing up for us so we can try to see their underbelly. We work up to them turning for us so we can see their side. We're actually able to use training tools where if they give us a side, we can manipulate the hair safely with us on the outside and being able to lift that hair so you can get a good look, because I have a lot of hair.
Yeah.
And then they're actually all conditioned to go into crates for us. So when we do have to take an animal up to the hospital for a checkup or a procedure, we make sure we kind of desensitize them to that crate. We have them go into the crate on a regular basis and they get jackpotted. So we give them lots of treats in there. So the crate isn't something scary. So when we do actually have to take an animal to the hospital, getting them to come inside or kind of move for us isn't too difficult, which helps us to do our job in giving them really good care.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's like, it's great to see kind of how you take that time to build up that relationship and trust, and it's really special. And I have to ask you, because of their hair, what does their hair feel like? Have you felt it before?
Yes, it's very coarse. Because it's so different. So that longer hair on the gelatas, it's going to be pretty coarse there. The skin on their chest where they have that red marking, that's actually fairly smooth. It's a thick pad kind of, but it's smooth. And animals, for the most part, I'm that person that disappoints people. Most wild animals aren't going to be super soft. And that comes down to function. Soft, having that texture, that's kind of a human thing. We want our pets to be soft. We want animals we cuddle to be soft. I've worked big cats. I've worked hoof stock. They're going to be really coarse because that's going to offer protection from weather and the elements. They need to have that protective covering there. So, yeah, not soft, cuddly animals at all.
Do not be fooled, even though it looks luxurious.
Well, and that hair for the gelatas is amazing right after it rains and it gets wet because it's all crimped. And they look like they've had their hair done. It looks amazing.
Yes, like a 90s throwback with the crimpers.
Absolutely. They've got great hair.
I love it. And
we've been drowned when we work in the rain, and these guys just come in and shake their hair, and they look amazing.
Woo. Yes. Yeah, California birds are wondering if they're just not using the right conditioner. Could be the issue.
It could be an issue. It could be. We haven't offered it yet.
Do they like the rain? I know we don't get a ton of rain here in San Diego, but do they act differently when that happens?
It depends on how heavy of a rain it is. If it's misting and it's light rain, we see them go out and they climb up into the trees and the climbing structures. And they all do have options to get away from rain. So there are caves in their habitat that they can go under. They also have heated caves in there, just putting that out there. And then if it's pouring rain, we will give them the option to have one of the bedrooms open for them that they can come in and check out. They don't always use it. It depends on how bad the rain is, and it depends on the individual. The Hamandryas, I will say, if it's pouring rain, the littles and the females like to be in out of the rain, absolutely.
Same.
Yes.
Though it is sort of exciting when it rains here. It feels like a very rare occurrence.
Well, and even just the smell of rain. Rain is an amazing enrichment for us to use because it washes so much of the smells and moves the smells. You will have, especially if we have habitats that are at the bottom of the hill, when it rains, all of that scent kind of just, it goes downhill and you'll see the animals react to it. Absolutely.
That's cool. Yeah. And what else is nearby the baboons? I'm trying to picture that area, but It's by
It's
Africa Rock.
behind are the koalas, and it's above the leopards. So they do have a carnivore within the area. I've never seen them really focus in that direction. And that's the other thing about baboons is having that safety in such a big group. Nothing is super threatening to them. They do have that safety in numbers.
Yeah, and if there was like a natural predator, what were those again that you mentioned? Like maybe a lion or
Large cats will go after them, and I mean that's about it. And it would take, it would take a very brave cat to maybe go after a young one, or maybe if there's a small group. So when you have these big groups of baboons throughout the day, they will kind of break off and go do their own thing. So they'll go graze and they'll kind of break off a little bit. So you will have leopards and lions that may try to go pick off one if it's broken away from the group. But come evening, you will see them come back together and have that, again, that safety in numbers. And when you think about in Africa, the heat of the day is midday. So morning, evening, and night is going to be when a lot of those big cats are hunting. That's what we call crepuscular. And they are going to be looking for food. So having that group together, it's going to offer you a better chance of making it through the night. And they will go up into the trees sometimes to get away from the lions.
and do they like in addition to kind of escaping and climbing up, do they work together to protect themselves? Like is there anything that they'll do to defend themselves?
Absolutely. So we will have what we call an alert call. Sometimes if the vet walks into our building, they all know it's the vet and they all bark. And it's a very loud, high pitched bark. And that's an alert call. That's saying, whoa, something's going on. You're not supposed to be here. And all the males will kind of get up towards the front there. And that's exactly what would happen in the wild. Your males are going to kind of join together, and that's their role, is they're the protective unit. But having said that, I wouldn't want to mess with a female either. So they move very quickly. They have very big teeth, and being social, absolutely, they will work together.
Incredible. Safety in numbers, like you said.
Yes. And a
Um,
lot of our animals at the zoo and at the safari park are strategically placed near natural predators. And that's the design by design. So that not only gives them that natural experience of smelling a predator, um, for some animals, it does encourage breeding. So again, to get that safety in numbers, grow my group, get a bigger group, we have a better chance of surviving, even though that animal is never going to have to come face to face with a predator.
yes, they are lucky, but it's great that it kind of mimics what they would experience in the wild and making
Absolutely.
for, I think, probably a better experience for
Well,
them.
and these guys do have to, in the wild, they do have to overcome stresses and challenges. That's part of growing up. I mean, we deal with it as humans. And it is good for them to problem solve and have to deal with those things.
Yeah. And I know we're getting close to the end of this hour and our amazing conversation with you. Is there something, Anastasia, you would like to share with everyone about primates, baboons, anything that you'd love people to know or maybe take away from what we just talked about?
I mean, I hope everyone enjoyed watching them kind of interact today, and I hope you guys get a chance to not come to the zoo, but to come and check them out on the cam, supporting local zoos and organizations that are doing work for conservation for these guys and education for people. So unfortunately, um, these guys deal with human encroachment, but education programs and conservation organizations are going to be the way that we get the next generation to care about wildlife. It's something I'm very passionate about, not just for primates, but for all the animals here at the zoo. Is our job is to ignite that passion in the next generation. So I hope more young people are able to see this and check these animals out and fall in love with them just like I have.
Yeah, and I think you're doing an amazing job, and your
Thank
passion
you.
just shines through, and I think I hope this helped people learn a little bit more about baboons and primates. And we really appreciate everybody tuning in and supporting this channel and the conservation work that San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance does, not only here in San Diego, but also just around the world. And we're really looking forward to bringing everybody more streams like this. We'd love to hear, what you'd love to learn more about. This week we'll be live again tomorrow, Thursday, and also on Friday we're going to have a special conversation with our head of genetics and conservation, Dr. Oliver Ryder, to talk about some of that work we're doing too. So, Anastasia, thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to, yeah, and we're going to keep the baboon cam rolling for anybody else who would like to keep watching them for a while. They're super entertaining and interesting to keep an eye on. So thank you all so much. We're excited to see you back here tomorrow.
put you through.